Hi guys, it's me Lindsay, and I am here to share with you my favorite DIY this Christmas season. It seriously changed the game for my whole Christmas vibe I had going on, and that is this chunky knit stocking. I've always seen these online or in store, and I could just never bite the bullet to buy them because they just didn't fit my aesthetic. And finally, I created a pattern to make these chunky knit stocking. So if you're a beginner knitter, that's a weird word. So if you are a beginner with knitting, then this pattern is going to be easy enough for you to follow. And if you're more experienced, then you can take my pattern and really create it to however you want it to be. So I'm going to teach you how to knit this stocking, create this hanger, and create a customized nameplate for it. I think I left mine downstairs. Oh, it's right here. And I'm going to teach you how to make this customized nameplate for it. So if that sounds good to you, then keep on watching. I wanted my stocking to have a bulky, thick look. So a hack for that is to hold any of your yarns double or triple to get the look you want. So for me, I had to try it a few times, but I found holding my strand with 3 at a time to work the best. So here I am just going to cast on 20 stitches. The needles that I had available to me were 35, but you can go to the store and get any larger needles and just see what works for you. The larger the needle, the larger your stitches will be. So we casted on 20 stitches, and we are just going to knit all the way across. If this is your first knitting project, my best advice to you is just to trust the process. The cast on might feel tight. When you start knitting across, it might look loose. Just keep going and just do your best and see what it looks like. So you have just knitted your first row, so turn your needle over and start your second row. On this row, we are going to do the purl stitch. As you are knitting the correct side and purling the incorrect side, it is called the stocking stitch. And we will do the stocking stitch for 4 rows. Now we have finished 4 rows, so at the beginning of your 5th row, knit 2 stitches together. So insert your needle into 2 stitches and just knit like normal. Then just continue to stitch all the way across until you get to the last 2 stitches. Then you will knit those 2 together as well. So we decreased by 2 stitches this row. So if you counted all the stitches on your needle, you should have 18. Now we are going to start a purl row. So begin with purling 2 stitches together and end with purling 2 stitches together, just like the previous row. Continue this pattern of decreasing 2 stitches per row until you have a total of 12 stitches left on your needle. You're going to want to mark this last row with a stitch marker. I'm using a tiny clip here, but you can use a paper clip, a hoop earring, just anything that won't wiggle its way out while you're knitting. So I did 15 rows of stocking stitch after the stitch marker. And to make sure there's 15 rows, I'm going to stick my finger into each stitch going up above the stitch marker. And you should be coming to 15. So the stocking shape is finished. You're done all of the knitting, so give it a nice little stretch, get a good feel for what your work looks like. This would be a good time to either make it longer if you need to, or take some stitches out if you'd rather it be shorter. If you're happy with the shape and the way it looks, then it's time to bind off. So this is going to be a very loose knit. You can see me pulling a little extra yarn out, so it's very loose. And knit 2 stitches. Remember, make sure it's super loose. Then we are going to take the first stitch and pull it over the second. Remember, keep everything super loose because this is the opening of the stocking. If it's too tight, it's going to be way tighter than the rest of your stitches and it's not going to be right. So be very loose with it and keep on pulling the first stitch over the second stitch. When you get to the last stitch of the bind off, make sure you make the stitch a little extra big so you don't accidentally pull it through. Flip over your work, and we are going to cut the tail, which means basically removing the work from the ball of yarn. So make sure your tail is super long because we are going to use it to weave the stocking. So to take care of that last stitch on your bind off, pull the tail all the way through the stitch. Give it a good pull and you are finished. If you have any loose ends of yarn, just tuck it in between the stitches. This is the great part about this project, is that you don't have to really weave in any edges unless you're a super perfectionist, which is not me right now. Alright, so now take the two correct sides of the stocking and fold them so they're touching each other, and we are going to stitch the side of the stocking. So the stitch we're using today is called an overcast stitch. I am basically just going to use my fingers to take the yarn through the stitch. So every time I pull the yarn over, I put it back over to the right side and pull it back into the left. I'm only using my fingers to help guide the yarn through each stitch. If the stitch is a little wider for whatever reason, like the decreases tend to be a little wider, I'll do 2 overcast stitches in that one spot, just to make sure that nothing will fall out of the stocking while it's hanging and that it is tight all around. So now you are finished the overcast stitch. The stocking looks nice and secure, so give it a nice tie at the end to make sure it doesn't come out. I do that by doing an overcast stitch, and before I pull it all the way through, I put the end yarn back in through the stitch. And I do another knot on top of that just to make sure it's all secure. So this is the wrong side of the stocking, and I'm just making sure everything looks good. I don't have to add more yarn to any stitches, and when I'm happy with it, I'll pull it right side out. Don't be afraid to tug and stretch your yarn and your stitches. Shape the toe, shape the parts that are decreased stitches. Finish off your stocking by folding over the top and tuck in any loose tails that you see. And that is it. This is your basic, totally customizable chunky knit stocking. I wanted something contrasting to hang my stocking with, so I took this light gray suede string that I had in my stash, but you can use the yarn you use to knit your stocking with. I just wanted something a little different, and I am going to lightly braid the string. I want the braid to be seen, and I don't want it to be too squished. So make a very light braid. After you're done braiding, get your stocking and pinch it about where you want your string to go through. I wanted to go through both layers and go a little further down because I wasn't sure how heavy the stockings were going to be once they were full. So I'm going to just weave the string through a stitch where I think it would be the best. I am loving floral wire lately. I find so many purposes for it that I never thought of before, and now they come in really cute colors. So I have this gold floral wire, and I'm just going to secure my suede string using the wire. I don't have to worry about making any knots. I don't have to worry about whether it's the right side of the string or the wrong side or how it looks. I just take a really long piece of floral wire and just wrap it as tight as I can. So this is how my stocking looks with this hanger. I love the contrast of the light suede, and I left long strings like a tassel at the end to give it some texture. And now I'm going to make the nameplates. I got these slabs of wood from Amazon, and I'm going to take my floral wire to make a string for my beads. I'm going to use small wooden unfinished beads, but you can use whatever is in your stash, whatever you have available to you. And floral wire to the rescue again. I don't need a needle, I don't need anything. I can easily just string on these beads. I put on about 8 beads and saw that it was the right length for what I was going for. Then I'm going back to the hanger on my stocking. Right where the floral wire is, I'm going to layer on the floral wire for my nameplate. And we are just going to wrap it on. And this is the chunky knit stocking. I am just so pleased with how it turned out. It looks great on my mantle. I'll make sure to put the pattern down below, and I will also make a post on my Instagram with the pattern too. So if you make one, make sure you tag me on Instagram, and I would love to see what you create. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you were able to make your own stocking for your Christmas decorations. They are just really cute and cozy, and I'm really surprised how easy it is to make. So if you are able to make that, make sure you tag me on Instagram and follow me on Instagram, because that's where I post all my latest DIYs and creative ideas. So that's the place to find me. I'm posting there just about every day. And if not, I'll see you again on YouTube. Bye!